Okay, welcome back. In this video, video 3 for terminology, we're going to talk about image planes. In Rhino, we would call them C-planes or construction planes. And basically, most 3D applications are going to allow you to see a model in at least 4 different views. So for example, here, perspective, top, front, and right. You might call them, in the architecture world, we would call them plan view or site view. We would call them north elevation, south elevation, east elevation, west elevation, for example. But here it's basically just 4 views, right? And while you're working in just about any piece of 3D modeling software, you can see your model in either one view or 4 different views all at once, right? So for example, here, if we look in our top view, this is just a sample blueprint of something in plan view or top view. Right? Now, when you are looking at whatever modeling software you're using, generally you can look in the lower left-hand corner and there's going to be something like this that says XY, right? And that basically says that you are looking at something in a plan view or a top view. In this case, they call it a top view. And there's an X-axis here delineated by red, and a y-axis here delineated by green. Okay. Now we also will call this world top, and that basically means that anything that you ever draw in this view actually gets drawn on that plane. So right, that's the X, Y, or the world top. Now if we look at down here, we're in the perspective view, it says X and Y and Z. That means you're basically anything that I draw, no matter where it is actually going to go directly on that plane. In this case, we call it a construction plane, right? And it's going to be drawn there. Okay, you can't draw anything up vertically, like, for example, you take a look at this blue arrow here, right? That's drawn vertically. It's very, very difficult. Depends on the software. You know, SketchUp, it's pretty easy to draw vertically. Rhino, it's a little bit more difficult, right? So for example, anything that I draw either in the top view or the perspective view is going to be drawn in the XY or the world top. Anything I draw in the right view, for example, here is an elevation, right? That's going to be drawn in the ZY plane, right? So anything that I ever draw here, I'll draw something squiggly so we can tell the difference, is going to be drawn directly on that plane, like so, right? And so the same thing, if I go to the front view, anything that I ever draw will be drawn on the Z. I'll do it this way. X-plane. Enter, like that, right? So those are what we refer to as construction planes, or as many folks will call it, image planes, right? Now these are particularly useful for doing things like bringing in reference images, like this blueprint. Right. We're going to go over that in depth, but I just want you to know that there is something that is known as a reference plane or a C-plane. There's going to be a whole bunch of videos specific to Rhino about how to deal with C-planes, but I thought I would just introduce it to you here. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you in the next lesson.